love Voltron, Dragonball, and Transformers art? Then you will love our next guest, illustrator Jin Yung Kim. This podcast was recorded in October of 2017 when Jin just finished his comic convention season and was having fun creating art for Inktober. Now that the 2018 con season has started, Jin, who recently toured up at Emerald City Comic Con, will be making an appearance at WonderCon 2018, which will take place March 23rd to 25th in Anaheim, California. On this interview, we touch on how he was at 11 years old, some of his artistic influences, and who he thinks should play him if a movie was made about his life. We even talk about his recent trip to Japan with his friends and fellow artists, Patrick Ballesteros and Dave Wilkins. Those illustrations that Patrick did of them on that trip were hilarious. Please enjoy our conversation with Jin Yung Kim. Hey there, fellow nerds and geeks. Aaron Nabus here, and thank you for tuning in to the Hall H Show podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Alex Benedicto.
Hey, what's up?
And we have with us artist extraordinaire, Jin Yung Kim.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
All right, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you.
We are at a restaurant, actually. It's called it's Ono's Island Style Bistro in Bonita, California. So if you're in San Diego, say for San Diego Comic Con, you need some Hawaiian grinds, check this place out in Bonita. It's like South Bay.
Yeah, Chula Vista area.
Yeah.
Super good.
And we're definitely going to pick out after the podcast.
Yes.
Jen, why don't you tell us how you were at 11 years old? What were you into?
How I was at 11?
Yeah.
When I was 11 years old?
Uh-huh.
What grade is that? Like 5th grade?
Sixth,
Elementary?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't know. If I can remember that far back. Well, I remember playing outside a lot. And then when I'm not playing, I was drawing and like watching a lot of like a Dragon Ball. Something wrong with the mic? Okay. Is that better? All right, cool. Yeah, so a lot of playing outdoors, rollerblading, bicycling around with like the neighborhood kids, getting into trouble like that. And then off time when I'm at home, when I'm not allowed to go out, I'd be drawing. Drew a lot of Dragon Ball. I say mostly Dragon Ball. Did some tracings here and there, and then like try to do it myself. Then played a lot of video games. Super Nintendo was huge then. And, just made a comeback with the SNES Classic.
That's right.
Yeah, right?
What were some of your favorite SNES?
The one, because our family didn't make too much money, so we kind of had to like relish on the handful of games that we had. So at that age, I played a ton of Killer Instinct. And I probably shouldn't have been.
I remember that game.
Yeah, so that game... I definitely played a bunch of, as well as like, what else was it? Final Fantasy 3.
Okay.
Well, also Final Fantasy 6, out in Japan. And whenever I had a chance, like one of my friends in the elementary school, he had the imported Dragon Ball Z games, so like the fighting games over there. And I would go to his house and play those, when I was allowed to.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Bay Area, California, like kind of all over, like Santa Clara, San Jose, Sunnyvale, Cupertino for a little bit. So it's kind of jumped all over the place.
And were you always creative as a kid?
I want to say yes, but probably not. I mean, I think like my main focus was probably just to like go out and have fun, whether it was through drawing or just like playing outside, like with toys and stuff. As far as like creativity goes, I definitely had a different drive than most other students. Like a lot of, like regular education didn't really interest me as much as drawing and doing art did, and that's definitely where I excelled, especially like when I got a little bit older and when I was in high school, like I was more attracted to like the art classes and things like that, and then as far as like the regular academics, like I would just slack off in those and not do my work, doodle and while teachers giving, their lectures and stuff like that. I got busted a couple of times, but then I would ignore them and just keep drawing while they're scolding me.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah, when I got like super busted, like the teacher finally got fed up.
Now, do you remember like a pivotal moment or some point in time that sparked your decision to sort of take art seriously and pursue it as a career?
I think in high school I always knew that I wanted to get into art, but I just didn't know how. So I didn't do the research at the time, like while I was in high school. So after I graduated, I just went to work. So I was just doing odd jobs here and there, like helping out, doing like construction type stuff, and then I worked at like a Jamba Juice for a while and like sandwich shops.
Okay.
So I did a lot of random things, and then like my uncle, he ran a like an auto mechanic and body shop. So I went to work with him for a while, for a few years, and I think after like 3 years, as much fun I had working there, I knew I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I'm just like, okay, I need to get my shit together. Sorry, is swearing allowed? You guys gonna beep that out?
No.
All right. So I decided I need to get my stuff together, and I started looking into art schools, and the one I felt was like the easiest one to get into was the Art Institute. So when I was like, I think I'm 23, that's when I really started looking into it. And I made the decision to just go to art school. I mean, I saw that they didn't need like a portfolio to get in. So I was like, cool. That makes it that much easier, right? Because like I had no idea where to start if I needed to make a portfolio other than, having a bunch of drawings. It's like, did I need a specific type of drawing? Do I need paintings too? Because like I didn't know how to paint at the time. And just like, so in that aspect, I was a little clueless. And then, hence the decision of going to Art Institute, because, like the portfolio requirement wasn't there. I guess like the academic, the recruiters, I guess, they were kind of helpful, but then, they had their own like agenda, trying to get students in as well. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely don't regret my decision on going there, and I think it definitely helped for sure kind of guide my own life.
So what made you decide to come down to San Diego?
I just want to kind of get away and get like a change of scenery.
Okay.
So I mean, growing up in the Bay Area, like since I was born, I figured it'd be good to just kind of experience a new city. And I always hear San Diego was cool, and it's pretty close to like where all like the big game studios and stuff are, and like animation studios. So I figured it'd be a good location, even if I had to like move to LA like afterwards.
Now, what was your emphasis in art school? Was it animation?
Initially, yes. So I went in for animation, and then after like my first year. So first year we had to take all our fundamental classes, and then the second year, that's when we start taking our core classes for our major.
Okay.
So after probably like a couple semesters or quarters of taking animation classes, I realized how much work was involved in doing 2D animation, because that's what I wanted to do. As much as I love 3D stuff, I wanted to stick with the 2D path. And like having to draw like thousands of frames for like, a 30-second animation. I was like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, because like I just wanted to draw like a cool picture. So that's when I switched into video game design and went that path. And the crappy thing about that was at AI, the focus was 3D art. So they didn't have too many like concept art courses there. And so when they were available, which was like very scarce, I took those classes. And in the off time, I had to like, you know, try to figure things out on my own, or like reach out to my other instructors and like how they can help me push my concept, designs, and try and like also utilize the stuff I've learned in my 3D classes and how to mesh that workflow into concept design. So hence like nowadays you see a lot of people like painting on top of like 3D model blockouts and creating designs that way. So I think that's helped me kind of, in a sense, like get ahead of the curve. But I think everyone's like already caught up now.
So what was it like, I guess, after graduation and you were sort of looking for a job? What were your prospects after graduation like?
I was fortunate enough to get a job like right before I graduated. So one of my instructors he's still working there, but he was working at Sony PlayStation at the time. And then he was pretty impressed with my work and my work ethic. So they were able to bring me on, and I was helping out with the old like PlayStation Home. Have you guys heard of that game? It's kind of like Second Life, but for PlayStation owners. Yeah, so you get these avatars. You can make it look like yourself, and then
Did you make one of yourself and put it in there?
I did not make one for myself, but I guess like you can buy a bunch of stuff for them, like apartment homes, little outfits, like trophies, things like that. It's a lot of little microtransaction things. So it was kind of like a money avenue for Sony. But yeah, so like they needed a concept artist for that, so they brought me in for that. And then and that happened like I want to say a month before I graduated. So I was like super relieved and like cool. that I got a job like right before school ended, because like I see a lot of my other peers who have graduated and they're still like struggling, to find work. And and it was like I thought that was gonna be me too. I'm like, oh shoot, like what if my stuff isn't good enough? Like everyone's like not gonna like it. I mean, it just means I'm gonna have to work harder. But it's just like how much longer is it gonna take? But bam, it was like right there, like without knowing it.
So do you think it was a combination of knowing the right people, good timing, your talent?
I think it was timing. Timing was definitely there. Yeah, definitely like knowing, just having those sets of instructors that I had was good, and just like kind of being on their good side as well. Just working with them to like really build up my portfolio, and and then them seeing like my work ethic. I think is what attracted a lot of the teachers to me and wanted to help me become a better person and a better artist as well. But definitely timing. I want to say talent, but I don't know. I mean, I'm only as good as my worst piece, right? So, I mean, I think I'm okay. People seem to like my work.
You're I.
All right.
No. Anybody hearing this podcast right now, and then go check out Jin's Instagram. It's pretty cool. It's good. A lot of good stuff on there.
It's okay. Still a lot to learn. So figuring out so many things.
I love your versions of like even just your version of Son Goku and Vegeta. It's like so different.
Oh, right on.
It's so different than what I see out there.
Yeah. I mean, I love just like taking existing characters and just kind of drawing them my own way, or like how I imagine them. I mean, I love Akira Toriyama's stuff, and I feel like his work has had a big influence on my artwork. But I mean, his work has been seen a lot, and it's been replicated many times. So I was like, oh, why don't I just give it my my own twist, to these characters, that everyone knows and loves. And I think that's also part of the challenge, is like, how can I make this different but also make it feel the same? Especially, so that's kind of like the approach I took with my Transformers art as well. It's like, all right, I can copy or just like replicate the designs from like the G1 cartoons, but how can I also like update the designs without overdoing it and keeping the soul of G1 Transformers, in the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, based on a lot of people's reactions from various conventions, they feel like I've done just that. Like I've captured the G1 essence, but also kept it like cool and like somewhat fresh.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what attracted me to you, your table. I think it was a few years back when I first saw your stuff at, I think it was at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was a Transformers.
Yeah, oh, right on, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I did pick up your mini G1 prints.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
So speaking of Transformers, you are doing some work for IDW, right?
Yeah, I did some work with them. I'm trying to stay in touch with them to do some more work in the future. Right now,
what did you do specifically for them?
So the last thing I did with them was some cover art or variant covers for their Transformer books. So it was for Optimus Prime, Till All Are One, and Lost Light.
Okay.
So those 3 books, I did a cover for. And then like the process was really smooth. Just like anything else, you present like several sketches, thumbnail layouts essentially, and then the editor will pick the one he likes best, and you just kind of move forward from there. And like he didn't really ask for like any updates, while I was working on it or anything. He just kind of let me do my thing, and then they really liked the outcome. And that was probably like one of the smoothest freelance, I guess, transactions I've ever had.
How did you initially hook up with them?
I talked to like John Barber. He's a writer there right now. I think at the time when I first talked, this was like 4 years ago. So at like I think it was at a BotCon.
Okay.
I met him at a BotCon, and let's see what happened. Yeah, so we just like started our conversation there, and then he was trying to get me on a book, at least like a Transformers book, right? Just do some artwork for them there, but it kind of fell through, and like nothing. They weren't able to get me on, and my assumption was that they already had enough artists on those books, and they got to feed their OG team, right?
Right.
So I kind of accepted it for that, and then he was trying to get me on something else that they were working on, and that project fell through, so that was kind of a bummer there. And so I just kind of kept in touch with John Barber, kind of said hi to him like throughout the years, at every convention I would see him at. And finally, it was funny because like I was at the comic book shop, Kamikaze in Point Loma.
Liberty Station?
In Liberty Station. And I did a pop-up shop there.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah, so he hosted me and set up a spot for me to like kind of sell my art prints and stuff like that and originals. And he mentioned he knew the editor at IDW who worked on the Transformer comics. So he put me in touch with him and got me the cover gigs through that. So I was kind of like blown away. I was like, wow, like I had, all my friends who work in the comic book industry, and it was, Rob, the comic shop guy who was able to get me the gig. Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Kamikaze is right across the way from the IDW Comic Art Gallery.
Yeah, that's right.
And IDW headquarters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Corporate headquarters.
Where Eastman has a office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because like they have like his replicate office like downstairs in the museum. So I guess that's like what his actual office looks like. It's pretty crazy. There's tons of like teenage TMNT stuff like everywhere.
Well, speaking of TMNT, your sketch cover was pretty badass. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, the one with the four brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that one like unexpectedly blew up. Like I posted it, and then I woke up the next morning. I was like, "Holy crap! Like, where all these notifications come from?"
Who are your artistic influences? I know you mentioned Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, during school it was like definitely like Frazetta was one of them, like Craig Mullins, J.C. Leyendecker, Rembrandt, like some of the more classical artists. I mean, right now I'm looking at like a lot of more of the like modern like concept artists and stuff. It's like or illustrators like Kim Jung-gi, James Jean, Terada Katsuya, the what's his name, Katsuro Otomo, yeah, and like Shiro, like all those guys. I guess like my buddy Carlos Dienda mentioned that he sees a lot of like Otomo influence in my work, which I didn't kind of notice at 1st, and then as I look back through his stuff, I was like, I guess I kind of do, and then. I'm going back and looking at like a lot of the manga and stuff that he's done, and just kind of really try and break it down and see what the similarities are. But yeah, I mean, those are a lot of guys, you know, that definitely influenced me. Akira Toriyama, like I mentioned before, as well. I'm trying to push my stuff to be a little more, I guess, like fun in shape. And shape and form language. So have bigger shapes, more gestural, and just look more fun in a sense, instead of like trying to push things to look more realistic. I feel like that takes a really long time. Like even when painting is not my most favorite thing to do, like rendering, you know, I could spend hours and days, you know, just rendering, and then it may not look like the way I need it to look, right? So I'm definitely I gravitate more towards, you know, line art and drawing. You know, I feel like I get better results in less amount of time. Yeah.
Seems like, you know, manga and anime are a big influence on your art and I guess life in general. You just took a trip to Japan. You want to sort of go into that a little bit?
Oh man, yeah. So Japan, we planned this trip initially, like me and my buddies.
Who's your buddies?
So it was me, Dave Wilkins, another concept art friend, who's also my former instructor, Zhu Nguyen, and Patrick Ballesteros. He was there, you know, kind of cataloging everything through his sketches.
Yeah, those are awesome. Those are fun. Those are fun to look at.
Yeah, he was roasting all of us through drawings. And then another coworker and friend, Daniel Kabuko. So all 5 of us went, and then on the plan of going to TGS, I mean, a couple of us went to TGS, but I didn't get to make it there.
What's
TGS is a Tokyo Game Show.
Okay.
So it's like Japan's version of E3.
There's probably maybe 500,000 people that go there?
I'm sorry?
There's like 500,000 of people that go there, right?
Yeah, I heard that like last year was like 300K people.
Okay.
I'm like,
Wow.
whoa, man. And then like our other coworker who went, she showed us a picture. The line was insane. It was like there's already this huge convention building, and like the line like wrapped around the building and went down the street, and you couldn't even see where it ended. So I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't go to that, because I would have wasted a whole day. But yeah, so that was the initial plan, and then like for me, it just ended up becoming a vacation, and you know, we're in the motherland of freaking manga and anime, and then just got to see everything and all the stuff we wanted to see. Well, I mean, almost all the stuff we wanted to see. Definitely need to make another trip back.
What were some of the things that you saw?
Some highlights or your favorite.
Oh man,
spots.
I guess we could start food first.
what was that?
We can start with the food first.
The food?
Yeah.
Oh man, so there were a lot of good street food. The one we went to was in Akihabara. Was like this.
Like takoyaki? And...
No, it was actually karaage.
Oh, karaage.
Yeah, it's a fried
Okay.
chicken.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, super good, super cheap too. It was like $5. You get like these 5 big chunks of chicken, rice, miso soup, and like one other small side dish, and then it was really good, super fresh. Like super crispy too. Oh man, yeah, definitely would go there again. And then, so like my top 2 places that I really enjoyed eating at, or 3, was Hachi, and that was this what do you call it, Wagyu beef place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, beef steak. So the meat was like super fatty, really tender, melts in your mouth. It was super delicious, and then like the service was great there too. I think like the waitress was the only person who spoke English, but yeah, no, she communicated very well, and then you know treated us very well as also. So that was a great experience. And then another place we went out to, I think it was Roppongi. So, I mean, people say it's like a touristy area, but apparently they have like really good food out there. So it was I don't remember the name of it, but they had some super bomb tonkatsu.
Yum.
Yeah. So, I mean, apparently it's like one of the best places to have it in Japan, or at least like in the Tokyo area. And yeah, like they had, like when you usually think of tonkatsu, you just think of like, you know, what you get in American restaurants or like American Japanese restaurants, right? And then like you have the option of pork or chicken. Right. Here they had chicken, pork, and like all the different cuts of porks you can get.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So like if you wanted like a really thick piece, you know, they'll get you like the pork belly or like the shoulder. Wow. And yeah, so they had all the different options there, and they even had like I think one of the things they're known for is the golden boar. Huh. So it was boar meat essentially, right? And then unfortunately, like they were out of it for the tonkatsu version, but they had like the ground boar meat version. Okay. So it was more like kind of like a croquet. yeah. So they had like a croquet version of it. So we had that, and it was super good. Yeah. And then even like the rest of the food was like super delicious, like super juicy. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you guys ever make it out there. Or to any of the listeners who are out there.
Once we go there and we turn, oh, hey, Jin, what are you doing here?
Shit. You might see me there again, for sure. And then the third, one of the last place that I really had a good time was, it was this really random place we just kind of found when we were in, I think it was Ikebukuro. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of went there looking for initially a bookstore because we were looking for some anime books and art books. And fortunately, we found it, and we got hungry, so we're walking around like, what should we eat? We're looking stuff up on Yelp, and we're like, okay, just scrolling through. Everything was like ramen, izakaya, ramen, and then we're just like, oh, hey, there's like a, man, what do they even call it? I forget the type of restaurant. Anyway, we decided to go to that place, and it was called Nami. Okay. But then on Yelp it just said NA and then like some Japanese symbol. I had no idea what it was. But when we went in, yeah, they said it was called Nami. And we went there, and it was kind of like they took us down into the basement, which kind of felt a little sketchy at first. So I was the first date, like I was the first one in line. I was like, oh man, you guys gonna let me die first? Like, as I was going down. But no, like they were, all the host was very welcoming. And yeah, they guided us down into the basement section of the restaurant, and there were like a bunch of tables down there. It was kind of like a half sit down kind of place. So you sit down on like a bench type thing, and then and then they had like the table out with the grill on top. So it's almost like KBBQ here, you know, the all you can eat type places.
Right. But Japanese style.
Yeah, but Japanese style.
Okay.
So instead of like, you know, all you can eat, we just order your own portions and stuff, and yeah, we got like a bunch of different meats.
Do they call that what, yakiniku? Is that it? No.
Whatever they call like the Benihana type restaurants.
Oh, teppanyaki.
Yeah, teppanyaki.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was essentially that, but instead of like someone cooking for us, we cook for ourselves, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So we had a pretty good experience there. We ate a lot of like good beef and like pork and all that, and then they also had okonomiyaki, so the Japanese style pancakes where there's like seafood and stuff in there.
Yum.
And it was funny because like we saw our neighbors, right? Like, and then so that one you cook yourself as well. And theirs was all burnt. Like that did not look edible. Like what in the world is that, right? Okay. So Pat wrote, he Google translated and asked the waitress, he's like, how do we cook this to not make it look like our neighbors? So they just started cracking up, and they had our backs, and then they hooked us up and they helped us cook it. So which is, and it was funny because like, as they were making it, right, like the neighbors, we can hear them whispering. There's like, oh, that's how you're supposed to make it.
I guess it was their first time.
Yeah,
too.
Probably. But man, yeah, it was super good. And then like the staff there were super friendly, really nice. We took pictures with them and everything. So I think like as far as like dining experiences go, that was probably my favorite one there.
You mentioned art books earlier.
Yeah.
What kind of art books did you find over there?
I got some art books from Yoshinari Yo.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of the artists for or an animator for what's that show? Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, and he's done like a bunch of other stuff. What's that one on Netflix with the witches? The Little Witch Academia or something
Okay.
like that. Yeah, they had like a lot of cool effects, and then like, I really love his like gestural art style, and then like his proportions and all that. So just something to reference when I get stuck or when I want some inspiration.
Gurren Lagann's the drill mech, right?
Yes, yeah. And then like the head is like the mech with like the little arms and legs sticking out.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good, so good. Yeah, I just started like rewatching it recently, and then just to kind of get some inspiration. And it's always fun watching that one.
So, what other experiences did you do with it? Did you do the go kart and the streets?
No, I didn't get to do that. I saw my friend Jeff Martinez.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are familiar with him. Like
Yeah.
he's done it before, but we didn't have a international driver's license.
Oh.
Yeah, so we weren't able to partake in those activities.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think our friend Pat, like after we had left, he got one. That bastard.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he just drove around. He said it was a lot of fun. He felt it was kind of dangerous. He's like going like 40 miles an hour on the
Right.
streets and with those things,
Yeah.
So I mean, next time I definitely want to try that out, and then kind of give those streets the JYK treatment.
Definitely, you need to at least go there for more than a week for sure, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other experiences in Japan that you'd like to let our audience know about?
Toys.
Oh.
Toy hunting was super fun.
Okay, what'd you pick up?
So, the one thing I was looking for primarily was the Arcadia's Macross VF1S figure. So they didn't have. I couldn't find the Roy Fokker one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just ended up getting the
Skull Squadron?
Yeah. So the Rick Hunter / Hikaru Ichijo version.
Is it the red and
Yeah, the red and black stripes.
uh-huh.
Yeah. But it was still like the Skull Leader version.
Mhm.
So I've been looking for that. I found it when we first went to a store called Mandrake. And just kind of left it there. I was like, maybe I can find a better deal somewhere else. It was already a pretty good deal, but I was like, maybe I can find it somewhere else. So I kept searching, went to like various other stores, like Ami Ami there, and then just like a bunch of like random small mom and pop shops we checked into, and could not find it anywhere else. So thankfully, when I went back, it was still there. So snagged it. And that was probably like one of my holy grail pieces that I found in Japan. And they had like tons of like Transformer stuff too. A lot of vintage like Japanese Transformers figures. Those are a little bit out of my price range.
like when Optimus Prime was called Convoy back.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So they had like it was all the toys from the 80s, like still in their boxes. Some of them were beat up, others were in better condition, but yeah, they were going for like at least 300 minimum.
Wow.
and up. Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess I can believe it.
But yeah, a true collector would probably have bought the whole damn shelf.
So obviously you just came back from Japan. Are there any other places that you want to go to? What's on your short list?
On my, I definitely want to go to Korea. I've never been back to my
South Korea, right?
Yeah, South Korea. Yeah, I've never been there. I mean,
I've been there once.
have you been there before?
it's
Yeah,
for
what'd you-
about a week.
Oh, nice. What'd you like about it? Like just in general.
It was just different. 'Cause
Yeah.
at the time, it was like, a lot of people at that time. It was 2005 was when I went, and at the time, a lot of people were going to Japan. And I go, let's go somewhere different,
Right.
Because it was kind of like a side trip. Our main trip was the Philippines.
Ah,
So
okay.
after the Philippines trip, we did a week in Korea, and it's different. It's just like big. Like I've never been, other than Philippines, in any other big Asian country.
Yeah.
So
Well, did they seem pretty like at the time like really technologically advanced like versus the States?
Not. There's some phones that they had that you'd see, a few months later here in the States, and I think they were ahead. I think like one thing I remember was frozen yogurt. It hasn't reached the U.S., but they had a few shops downtown Seoul already. So I think they're ahead in a couple of things that that here in the U.S. caught up.
Yeah,
probably a year or two later.
Just catching up with them. Yeah.
So frozen yogurt, like pink berry yogurt?
No, it was I think red mango.
Oh, red
was
mango.
one too.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a Korean one?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because I've seen a few here in the States. So it was like
that's where it came from.
frozen yogurt. I mean, I remember back in the 90s, it was just it TCBY or there's
right.
It wasn't popular at all yet until now they're like all over the
it's
place.
everywhere. Yeah.
And I remember, I think they had gas or natural gas powered cars too.
Oh,
That's
wow.
pretty cool.
Yeah. What?
Because I remember, like, we were putting luggages in the car in a trunk, and there's a big tank in the back.
Yeah.
I think that's natural gas. Like,
We got
that's
like
pretty cool.
nitrous in there.
It was,
turn on
it was,
the
it was cool experience.
Nice,
It was
awesome.
kind of cold though. We went during December, first week of December. And it was already cold, so coming from the Philippines to Korea,
Yeah.
like I was kind of underprepared.
Oh man, yeah. Got, like
Now
no
I know.
winter coats. Yeah, man. Yeah, I would definitely love to hit that up. It's my motherland country, right?
That's right.
So gotta go there and
Yeah.
check that out. Definitely want to like take my family out there, so they can. I don't think my mom's been back to Korea since she's moved to the States, like way back when.
When did she move over here?
I want to say like in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
she's been here for a while, and then she hasn't gone back. Where else do I want to go? New Zealand would be awesome to go
that'd
to.
be cool.
See all the Lord of the Rings
Lord.
sites. And then hopefully, I'll have a friend that works in Weta Workshop by that time,
Nice.
and I can get a tour over there.
Nice.
That'll be awesome.
Hey, it's Peter
And-
Jackson. How you doing?
And then where else? And just like anywhere in Europe. I mean, like I kind of got the travel bug now, and then just want to like start, going around the world and just exploring and experience like different things.
You should incorporate going to like overseas Comic-Con and
yeah. We talked to someone
before
about
or after,
that.
make a vacation out of
Right?
it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like I guess we met somebody, or like Dave Wilkins has a friend out in Japan who brings American artists out to
Okay.
Japan
Oh, nice.
and do like a comic convention circuit out there. And I don't know, hopefully maybe next year or the year after, we'll be part of that. So
Cool.
I mean, that's something to look forward to for sure.
What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm currently contracting at Sony PlayStation. So I'm doing like graphic design type stuff for one of the departments that I work with, and another department I'm doing concept arts for a game. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is or not.
You are.
But an undisclosed video game.
Are you working contract or as an?
I am contracting there.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, doing a lot of concept and design work, and graphic design, and like other like random tasks that they throw at me.
So, are you predominantly a contractor? And I was always wanted to ask people who contract a lot. What are some things you can do to sort of protect yourself as a contractor?
Don't spend all your money because you never know when you're gonna get dropped after a project's done. I mean, it'll all depend on like the studio's budget or the department's budget if they can keep you on or not. So, I mean, as much as I want to go out and like buy all the figures and eat all the food that I want, it's like if I'm not responsible, with my finances, then I'm gonna end up on the streets, and that's not something that I would like to happen, or I would like to avoid as much as possible. So, yeah, I mean that'd be my one biggest thing. Another one is probably just like as you're contracting, if your bosses allow, just find some side gigs, do some other freelance jobs, while you're working, like on your off time, and just to kind of keep up that way. So like just in case, if you're doing work that's not really like worthy of putting in your portfolio, then maybe you can find some other gigs where you can put it in your portfolio and it'll make you look a lot better.
Now, I guess sort of going still on the same vein as a contractor, in terms of like rights to your work, like how does that work?
At most places I've worked with, before they sign you on, they have you fill out a form where it's like if you have any like pre-existing properties or any properties that you're working on but that hasn't been released yet, they want you to kind of let them know what that is, so that if and when you do pursue those things, then they can't take it away from you. Yeah. So there are ways for them to protect themselves, and they want to protect their employees as well.
I see that you list tutoring on your website. Like how's that been going for you?
I get a few people contacting me about that every now and then. I haven't tutored that many people yet. I've had a couple students. I also used to tutor while I was in school. So at Art Institute, I tutored there. So I just kind of like kept going with it. And yeah, I mean, like I teach like basic, Photoshop stuff. So I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be like illustrators or like concept artists who want tutoring. So it can be like any artist or someone who just wants to learn, Photoshop or any Adobe program. I'm there to help.
Cool.
And then if people do want some, design help and whatnot, I'm up for it.
Cool. I guess we can go to the Thunder Round. Start off the beaten path set of questions.
Yeah.
Alex, take it away.
Yeah, all right. First question. If you could have a meal with anyone dead or alive, real or fiction, who would it be and where would you eat at?
Oh, man, I don't know.
We can come back to that one. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's come back to that one.
All right. Okay. Looking at your Instagram, there's a definite anime influence. What 3 animes would you watch over and over again?
Probably One Punch Man is one of them. I watched that like 3 times already.
Do you have a character on there besides Saitama?
I'm sorry?
You have a favorite character on there besides Saitama?
The biker dude. I forget his name. The bicyclist guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what the heck is that? Okay.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny.
He tries so hard, right? But he could never make it through. What else? Probably like the Dragon Ball movies. Yeah, versus the series.
Like the ones from the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the live action stuff. That don't exist, right?
No, we're talking anime. Yeah. Those are cool. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are super good. Like, and it's very well animated also. And then let's see, a third one, probably I want to say any of like the 80s or 90s anime movies, but if I had to pick one, I would say Ghost in the Shell. Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah. It's a fantastic film.
Definitely.
Good.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, next question. If you were in a band, what instrument would you play?
I've always wanted to play bass.
Bass.
Yeah. I don't know how to play any instruments, but if I would have to pick one, it would be bass.
Why would you pick bass?
It doesn't. I'm sure it's as complex as a guitar, but it doesn't seem like it. but it,
chill, like
exactly, yeah. And then it has a really nice sound. You can get it seems like you can get really complex with it if you wanted to. And then I've heard some songs where like freaking the bassist goes all out and is they just make some really cool music.
It's funny you mentioned bass because I think it was fairly recently I was on YouTube just randomly just looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And I came across a couple videos of Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ooh, yeah,
he's
yeah.
the bassist there, and he's pretty badass.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, next question. If you were president of the United States, what kind of artwork would you hang up in the Oval Office?
Oh man, probably like some James Jean piece. Yeah, anything by that dude is freaking great. Yeah.
Cool. Nice. All right. If a movie was made about you, who would you play you?
I would say the only person I can think of right now is Sung Kang from Fast and the Furious.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. How about Glenn Rhee?
Oh yeah, yeah, him too.
Steve Yoon.
Or should I get Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan. All right. What kind of music are you? What kind of music would be on the soundtrack?
On my soundtrack right now, it's just a lot of like.
No, if they made a movie about you.
Oh, about me?
Yeah. What kind of?
Oh man.
What would you put on there?
Maybe like probably more instrumental type stuff.
Uh-huh.
Maybe. Oh, right now I have a lot of like what is it like? Orchestra type music stuck in my head because I was watching this like documentary and it had a lot of that like violin type thing and piano. So I don't know, maybe something like that. It feels like a documentary. Feels like an action film. I would say maybe like a retro 80s vibe, like synthwave type music.
Cool. All right. Guess we'll go back to the first question. Who would you have dinner with?
Dinner with
yeah.
anybody.
Dead or alive, real or fiction?
Right.
Be fiction
Man,
too.
that's a really hard question though, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess you could have a meal with Goku, but I'm sure you don't want to be the one paying
You
for the
would
bill.
eat all my food. I'd starve.
You could go to an all-you-could-eat barbecue place.
So he would eat out the whole restaurant. I still get no food. Man, yeah. Dang.
Any artists? You might want
Artist? I don't know. I feel like it would have to be a fictional character because then
okay.
it'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Not saying that other artists aren't fun, but but someone like who doesn't like truly exist. I don't know, man. I'm super stumped on this question. There's just too many.
Oh yeah. Too many to go.
All right,
What kind of restaurant would you take them to?
I would take them to either some super good Korean barbecue or I don't know, something chill like ramen. I think ramen is always a good choice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool. I guess we can go to the Art Watch segment of the podcast. And Art Watch is where we sort of rep artists that we follow online. Like, I think we've mentioned you a couple times.
Oh, right on. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, are there any artists out there that you would recommend our listeners go check out?
Yeah, like a bunch of my buddies. If you guys aren't following them already, like Carlos de Anda, Eddie Nunez, Jeff Martinez, Patrick Ballesteros, Dave Wilkins, even though his art sucks. Just kidding.
I picked up Dave's Wonder Woman poster.
Yeah, dude, that was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty good, yeah.
And like all his like Masters of the Universe stuff, and it's like super great. Yeah, I learned a lot from that guy for sure working with him. Who else? I would say my friend Zoo, but like he doesn't have any social media accounts, even though he should. Yeah, he has like a lot of fantastic artwork. Let's see. I just started following this. Shoot, let me see if I can find his Instagram.
I guess while he's looking for that, do you have any, Alex, that you kind of want to mention?
I was going to mention, since talked about his trip, I was going to mention Dave Wilkins.
Oh, okay. I guess to sort of reiterate, go back and see Patrick Ballesteros' Instagram feed for his sketches of their trip.
Yeah, he put us all on blast.
He's on Facebook too. I've seen him. Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, I've been posting.
on there.
I've been posting a few of them to our Facebook page.
Oh man, yeah, I don't remember this guy's name, but he draws a lot of really cool like cars, like sports cars and race cars, like in his own unique style. And it's like,
is it like realistic or kind of cartoonish? Or?
It's like a mixture.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I mean, he draws like real cars, but he like pushes the proportions and the what do you call it? Like he really goes crazy with the engine and like all the exhaust and stuff that sticks out of it and the intakes. Man, I wish I remember the guy's name. Maybe I have it saved on my thing.
I guess since New York Comic Con is going on right now, I'll do a quick mention that you guys should probably check out two artists that we follow, Todd Knock and Scott Koblish. They're over there right now.
Here it is.
Found him.
Damon Moran.
Damon Moran.
Yeah. Check that dude's work out. Super clean, very cool cars. Super creative. I don't know. I think you guys can get a lot of inspiration
Cool.
out of this guy's work.
We'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, well.
And for the next part of the podcast, we sort of added this new section called superhero shoutouts.
Superhero shoutouts.
Yeah.
All right.
Are there any people that you want to sort of say thank you to? Because, we all can't get to where we're at by ourselves.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, sometimes we need some help. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll first start off with my family for not pushing me to become, the typical Asian doctor,
Engineer.
lawyer, engineer. Yeah. So
they were pretty supportive of your.
I don't think they were. They weren't exactly supportive, but then they weren't like really mad at me either for pursuing this. I mean, like my mom told me that she wanted me to become an actor,
Oh, wow.
which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's probably not my personality, but that's good to know that you wanted me to do something creative. Yeah, so I'm really grateful for that, and that they didn't really push me in a direction that I didn't want to go. I mean, they had their concerns, right? But then, they always felt that I can pull through anything as long as I worked hard at it. And, yeah, so definitely my family, Dave Wilkins, I guess. Shout out to that guy. He's been a huge inspiration, and he's definitely help me grow artistically and also as a person. And I guess all the studios I've worked at, in some way or form, I was able to learn, a plethora of things from like After Effects to, different artistic skills, and like all the different people I've interacted at the studios I've been at, and they've helped me grow as a person and kind of figure myself out, especially while I was out in Chicago. Yeah, definitely learned a lot there for sure, both artistically and personally. And my girlfriend Cindy, she's been a huge supporter. She helps me at conventions and stuff. Takes over the table for me when I need to go to the bathroom and all of that, or if I need to take a break. And then she brings me food and everything. So super appreciative, and yeah, I'm super glad that she's around for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything before we wrap up?
Well, I guess I'll let you guys know. I do have something in the works, like my own personal IP that I'm trying to get off. So I'm currently working with a friend. He's helping me write the whole story of it. So please keep an eye out. I mean, I'm trying to, start some illustrations for these soon. So hopefully in the next year.
It's going to be a comic book or?
Initially, it'll just... I'm planning on just doing like an illustrative book.
Okay.
And then depending on if that gets a good reaction, I may take that to a graphic novel route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. When will we know, more about it?
hopefully I'll have something out either by end of the year. If not, probably like mid next year. Yeah, have some like good substantial amount of artwork and story to show you guys.
Cool. What other conventions are you going to this year?
This year I'm done. I'm done for conventions. I'll stop by though. The one in Pasadena, DCon, Designer Con.
Oh,
yeah.
we love that one.
Yeah. I hear it's a great show. I just want to go and see what it's like, see all the cool artists there and the original stuff that people bring. So I'm really excited for that. Just to be an attendee. Like, I haven't done that in a really long time.
Right.
So just to go and enjoy a convention. Nice. And then, but my next one, my next show will be up in Seattle, Emerald City. In March.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
So see me there.
Cool. And where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, JinKim_art. Twitter, I think that's the same thing. Don't post as much on there. And you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Jin Yung Kim.
Yeah, you're doing some Facebook Live stuff now, right?
I've done it once, I think. Oh. or I done an Instagram live feed.
Maybe that's what I saw.
Yeah,
okay.
It might have been that one.
Okay.
So I do that every now and then. I'm going to try to do it a little more often. So maybe with Inktober going on, you'll see some more live stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm enjoying your Inktober pieces.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they'll get better. Like my last couple ones were kind of like, oh shoot, it's the end of the night. I need to get something out. so they've been a little more on the rough side and not as polished as the previous drawings. But yeah, I'll definitely try to make more time for it and do some more solid drawings for you guys.
Sweet.
Nice.
As I said earlier in the podcast, we are podcasting from a restaurant, Ono's. So I can smell the food cooking in the background. I'm getting kind of hungry, so I guess we'll end this podcast now and order some food. But Jen, thank you very much for being on the podcast with us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Hall H Show podcast. Our mission is to put the Hall H spotlight on some of our favorite pop culture and comic book artists, writers, and other creatives like Jin Yung Kim. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and our website, hallh.com. If you believe in our mission to be the voice of independent creators, we would appreciate a rating and a comment on iTunes. And please spread the word on social media using the hashtag HallHShow. Peace, cheers, artists assemble, and please make it a point to visit Artist Alley at all the conventions you plan on going to this year.